It's good? It's working? Can you hear me? Oh my God, wow. I was about to tell a couple of jokes. And are you live streaming it? You're live streaming it and we can hear. Wow. I was actually going to tell a couple of, when my brother-in-law, Rob Reiner, was there for the dinner, he told 3 really old jokes about Jews, which is like, I guess it was funny, but this is on YouTube. I didn't mean it. Okay. Shabbat Shalom. We are actually going to begin the service. And these gentlemen kindly let me pick the pieces that I wanted to have them do tonight because they're my favorite songs. So one of them is Lechi Lach, which is Debbie Friedman's version of the instruction that God gave to Abraham to go forth into the new land. Is it Lechi Lach or Lech Lecha? Lech Lecha is what was said to Abraham. Lechi Lach is the feminine of the verb and the pronoun. And some of the interpretation is not just to go forward, but to go to yourself, as in find out who your most authentic self is. So I think I figured out what my authentic self was to be a rabbi, but I guess there's more adventures awaiting ahead. So you go forth into the unknown, and you hope that you can be a blessing to people. So Lechi Lach. 645 or 341, depending on the size of the book. Sorry. Fat book, 645. Thin book, 341.
You shall be a blessing, Lechi Lach. Lechi Lach, and I shall make your name great. Lech Lecha, and all shall praise your name. To the place that I will show you. L'simchat chayim, l'simchat chayim, l'simchat chayim.
Are we all awake?
L'simchat chayim, l'simchat chayim, l'simchat chayim, Lechi Lach. And you shall be a blessing, you shall be a blessing. And you have been a blessing, Lechi Lach.
To light our candles tonight, I'd like to call up a very special woman, Susie Copel, who spent a lot of time in France in the same place as my mother, where she grew up, and who is kind of my adoptive mother. Her name is the same name as my grandmother. I was named after, so very special. Sorry.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love. Oh. Yeah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitchanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahalik ner shel Shabbat. Amen.
Actually, these candlesticks were given to us by Susie. Thank you. And we continue with the Kiddush, page 123 and 5. For those who don't come here that often, there's a thin book for Shabbat and a fatter book for Shabbat and festivals. So the first page I give is for the fat one, and the second one is for the thin one.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon kinchilanu, zikaron lemahaseh v'reshit, ki hu yom tehila lamikrae kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim, kivanu v'acharta, tanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, b'ahava uvratzon, Kaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. Wow, was it 8:45? Wow, that's a slow.
This week's Torah portion, Naso, is complicated, just as this, my last service at Temple Beth El, is complicated. Our Torah portion is very long, though that does not mean that the service is going to be really long, I hope. But it contains a beautiful priestly blessing, as well as the ordeal of the suspected adulteress, the sotah. I'll go into that a little more later. So too, for me, on the one hand, not having the day-to-day responsibilities for congregational life sounds like a nice break and a nice time to regroup. But I'm also sad, and I'm going to miss a lot of people here, especially the children. Yes. I've seen so many of you grow and been delighted to see so many young children become bar mitzvah and bat mitzvah and confirmed. And of course, leading services with these really talented musicians has been a real joy. I will really miss these moments, and I will miss you as well. But this is how life is. Change is hard, but for there to be new growth and new opportunities, some things need to be released. So let's start with celebrating new beginnings. Shir Chadash, page 648 and 344.
Adonai kol haaretz shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. Sing unto God all the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along. All the earth a new song unto God. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. Sing unto God all the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along. All the earth a new song unto God. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. I will sing unto God a new song.
So this week's Torah portion actually begins with a continuation of the census that was taken at the end of last week's portion. And this is the third time in a brief period that a census is taken. Why? For the French commentator Rashi, this is an indication of God's love for the people of Israel. God counts and recounts as God looks lovingly on each and every Israelite. And then centuries later, King David orders a census. But this causes God's anger, and 70,000 Israelites die. What gives? The difference is that in the first case, God asked for the census, not so in the second. And Rabbi Jonathan Sachs suggests that when the census is humanly rather than divinely undertaken, it's for the purpose of creating an army or building an economic power. In that case, the census is about numbers. The bigger the number, the better. Individuals don't count. What matters is size. But when God asks for the census, God values each and every person, considers each and every one to be immensely precious. And that is why, instead of using the word lispor, to count, the verb used is naso at rosh, which means to lift up the head. He's lifting up each head and looking at each person lovingly. I too value each and every one of you, seeing the divine light within you. And that's why I've preferred to work in a small congregation. I was in a really big one before, but here I have had the opportunity to get to know just about everybody. So I'm very grateful for that. L'Chatzi Kaddish is page 263 and 145.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba Be'alma divrach hirute ve'amlich malchute ve'chayechon u'v'yomechon uv'chayei kol beit Yisrael Ba'agala, ba'agala, uvizman kariv, veimeru, amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevorach, le'al alu al me'al maya, yitbarach. Yitbarak v'yishtabak b'itpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yithale v'yithalal shemei dekudesha b'richu le'ela min kol b'chata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'yimeru amen.
We rise for the Baruch Hu, page 264 and 146. And are there any young people here who would like to open the Ark? If you want to find out where the children are, just say, who would like to open the Ark?
Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed, le'olam va'ed. Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai.
So the blessing that we recite, the first blessing we recite before the Shema, is a blessing about creation, where we acknowledge that God created the world, and thus there's a purpose for us in the world. And I like to read some alternative poems, and this one is by Mary Oliver, called Where Does the Temple Begin? Where does the temple begin and where does it end? There are things you can't reach, but you can reach out to them, and all day long. The wind, the bird flying away, the idea of God. And it can keep you as busy as anything else and happier. The snake slides away, the fish jumps like a little lily out of the water and back in. The goldfinches sing from the unreachable top of the tree. I look, morning to night, I am never done with looking. Together, looking, I mean, not just standing around, but standing around as though with your arms open. And thinking, maybe something will come, some shining coil of wind, or a few leaves from any old tree. They are all in this too. And now I will tell you the truth. Everything in the world comes, at least, closer and cordially, like the nibbling, tinsel-eyed fish, the unlooping snake, like goldfinches, little dolls of gold, fluttering around the corner of the sky of God, the blue air. Yeah, please. Okay, we are going to continue with Ahavat Olam, which is the blessing about revelation, that out of love God gave us Torah, which is on page 266 and 148.
Is your guitar plugged in? Is it all the way? Ahavat olam bet Yisrael Amecha ahavta Amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Otanu limadeta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu v'shokfeinu Ukumenu nasiat v'chukecha ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגה יומם ולילה נגה יומם ולילה ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל אוהב עמו ישראל
And the Shema that I chose for tonight was written by a young woman named Anna Brooks. I think she's from Michigan. And she wrote this really beautiful version of the Shema and then kind of disappeared. You tried to find her too, right?
I did. She became like a children's book writer, or a writer, an author, yeah.
Oh.
I found her. But at least someone with the same name that looks like her.
So it could be her, it could not be her.
It's probably her, yeah.
She just studied what?
She went to study art afterwards?
Okay. We got all these researchers out there. Okay, great. Anyway, please rise for the Shema, page 267 and 149.
I won't tell you that God loves me. I won't tell you that God saved my life. But I can say as loud and clear as I can sing from my lips to your ears that there's one of our God in every one of our lives. And that's why we sing Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Oh, and that's why we sing Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. And that's why we sing. I won't tell you that God controls my life. I won't tell you that to have God's love would be my everlasting plight, but I can say as loud and clear as I can sing from my lips to your ears that there's one other God, our Ner Tamid, our everlasting light. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Oh, and that's why we sing Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Oh, and that's why we sing Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. And that's why we sing Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. One more time, and that's why we sing Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Please be seated, and Carol Lee, please come up and do the Vehafta for me, which is page 268 and 150.
I won't be able to see. Wow. Okay, everybody. I want to hear you loud. Okay? Oh. Okay. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meotecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ela asher anochi mitzavcha hayom alavavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'leflecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha ug'shartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha Ochtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha laman tizkaru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kadoshim le'Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher Hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem. Great job.
I think Carol Lee is determined that you're ready for your B'nai Mitzvah. Anytime you want to join her class. So one of the most disturbing passages in the Torah occurs in this week's Torah portion. It's the ordeal of the suspected adulteress. Now, first let's define adultery in the Jewish tradition. It's a married woman having an affair, not a married man. And then, if a husband suspects that his wife has committed adultery, he has to bring her to the priest. Then the priest bares her head as a humiliation and forces her to drink a horrible concoction made up of the dirt from the temple floor mixed with some water. Yeah, pretty gross, huh? If her belly distends and her thigh sags, she's guilty. And I suppose drinking something like that makes it pretty hard not to be guilty, right? If not, she's innocent. And it's really hard to think of anything more humiliating or cruel. And by the way, there's a whole Talmud tractate just on this very topic, even though they never actually followed this particular ritual. Who knows if they ever did, but there's a whole tractate about it. And one of them that I read a couple of days ago was if she doesn't want to drink the liquid, they use some kind of metal thing to force it down her throat. Okay, but I'm going to try to redeem this text because I redeemed the other bad one a couple of weeks ago for my bat mitzvah. And it was about the woman being impure after giving birth, especially after giving birth to a girl. So the rabbis of the Talmud, even though they came up with this horrible idea of a metal device to force her to drink this liquid, they were a little horrified by this too. So they limit the ordeal to a case in which the husband has been totally innocent himself, and in fact, they never practice the ordeal. It's the same thing as the one about, stoning your disobedient son. They made it impossible for that to ever happen, but it's there anyway, and they discuss it anyway. They didn't have Wordle. This is what they spent their time doing. For another, in a strictly patriarchal society, if a woman was suspected of adultery, her husband might actually kill her and suffer no consequences as a result of that. Or she might even be lynched. By being forced to be brought to the priest, the so-called punishment is at least taken out of the hands of her husband, and it gives time for a little cooling off while the ritual takes effect. It's small comfort, but don't forget that in the modern period, in this very country, something similar was practiced in the Salem witch trials. Someone told me today that there was actually no burning of witches. I don't know if that's true, but women suspected of being witches were tied up, weighted down, and thrown into deep water. If she survived, she was guilty. And if she drowned, she was innocent. What a deal. Luckily, the Israelites who escaped from Egypt were able to cross the Sea of Reeds on dry land. Michamocha. And we're doing the Standing in the Velvet Sea version, which was introduced to us by Amy Pearlstein. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, the kids want to do something. All right. Well, hang on.
But they have to do it slowly.
Oh, you can't really do it with this, right?
No tambourines.
No tambourines. Okay, no tambourines, but you can run around. Okay, this is a version where the tambourines are going to interfere with the music, but you can dance. Dance, not run. Dance. Go ahead.
Slowly.
You can go ahead. Go ahead.
I've been waiting in the velvet sea, whoa. 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 I've been waiting in the Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, Mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, Nora tehilot oseh feleh, Nora tehilot oseh feleh. I've been waiting in the velvet velvet sea. Whoa, I've been waiting in the velvet sea. Whoa, I've been waiting in the velvet sea. Whoa, I've been waiting in the, I've been waiting in the, I've been waiting in the velvet sea. Whoa, I've been waiting in the velvet sea. Whoa, I've been waiting in the velvet sea. Whoa, I've been waiting in the, I've been waiting in the. Mi kamocha, Oili Madonai. Mi kamocha, Nehedar b'kodesh, Nora tehilot. O Sefele, Nora tehilot, O Sefele. I've been waiting in the velvet sea. Whoa, I've been waiting in the velvet sea. Whoa, I've been waiting in the velvet sea. Whoa, I've been waiting in the, I've been waiting in the, I've been waiting in the velvet sea. Whoa, I've been waiting in the velvet sea. Whoa, I've been waiting in the velvet sea. Whoa, I've been waiting in the, I've been waiting in the. Okay, you guys, I'm waiting in the velvet sea. Whoa, I've been waiting in the velvet sea. Whoa, I've been waiting in the velvet sea. Whoa, I've been waiting in the, I've been waiting in the, I've been waiting in the velvet sea. Whoa, I've been waiting in the velvet sea. Whoa, I've been waiting in the velvet sea. Whoa, I've been waiting in the, I've been waiting in the, I've been waiting in the velvet sea. Whoa, I've been waiting in the velvet sea. Whoa, I've been waiting in the velvet sea. Whoa, I've been waiting in the, I've been waiting in the, I've been waiting in the velvet sea. Whoa, I've been waiting in the velvet sea. Whoa, I've been waiting in the velvet sea. Whoa, I've been waiting in the, I've been waiting in the sea. You might have noticed there was more than one Jory guitar playing. Jory finally found a way to make more than one of himself in real life. There's a little box down there that's called a looper. And so he laid down one track, then he laid down another, and then he changed guitars and played on top of that. He was literally playing with himself on the bima. Is that allowed? Okay. Oh, come on. All right, that's better.
Hello. Hi. Yes, thank you. Yeah, we've had some interesting experiences on the Bima in the last week or so. As some of you were here, but last week we had a bar mitzvah, and the poor gentleman who was lifting the Torah slipped and crashed to the ground. Luckily, he's okay, but he's going to be sore for a while. And Eileen, are you the one who told me this? Every single person is supposed to fast for 40 days, right?
It didn't touch the ground. It didn't touch the ground.
Yeah, Eric
I was
Sabar,
here. It
yeah.
touched the
Yeah,
stairs.
Eric Sabar said it touched the stairs.
Right.
It was on the steps, so
On the step. That's right.
it didn't touch the ground. Mhm. This is what the Talmudists do. They, What's that? Yeah, we don't matter. You don't have to fast, right? Only the men. Good, okay. Or you can give some money to charity. One of the two. So I mentioned that this Torah portion happens to have the priestly blessing, and so I would like to offer it to all of you. So if you were able to stand, please stand so I can offer you the priestly blessing, which is the oldest blessing in the Torah. And you do notice that up above there are Ner Tamid. Now, they're not all like this, but this one happens to have the hands like this, which is how the high priest used to bless people at the temple. And then Mr. Spock used that for his sign or something. I'm not a Trekkie, but you are. Yes, see, he's got his Mr. Spock on. But I'm not a Kohen, so I'm not going to do it like this. Actually, do you guys remember in the days when you would end a service and the rabbi would do the blessing? And then they stopped doing it, and I asked the dean of my seminary many years ago, gee, why is that? And he started laughing at me. I guess it's too hierarchical, but I'm not a Kohen anyway, and I'm not doing this, and I'm just going to give you a blessing, and so we're not going to laugh about it. What's that? They're always talking in the peanut gallery over there. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha ve'yechuneka. May God always be a shining presence in all your lives, and may you always be kept safe. Yisa Adonai panav elecha ve'yasem lecha shalom. May God grant you the most precious of all gifts, the blessing of shalom, of peace, which we need now more than ever, and shalem, which is wholeness. Amen. And now I'd like to invite my husband, Jordan Lund, to come up and sing Hashkivenu, which is on page 273 and 155. It's a prayer that was said before bedtime back in the medieval period. It finally got into the prayer book, and it's really a prayer about wanting to wake up in the morning because people didn't know if they went to sleep, did that mean they were not going to wake up? And asking for a shelter of peace over them.
Let's make sure. Thanks. Thanks, Morris. Okay. This is like a lullaby, isn't it? It is? Yeah, it's on. A lullaby that I'm going to sing to you so that you can have some rest. Finally. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. 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 Ushmor tziteinu L'chaim u'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Ushmor tzidkeinu uvoeinu l'chaim u'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu malkeinu לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. Carry on.
Yeah, you can't walk away with that. Pull the whole. We continue with the tefillah, which begins on page 273 and 155, and we rise.
Yeah, we've discovered new ways to do stuff wrong up here. We're always innovating, Rabbi. We're always innovating. Okay, go ahead. Adonai Sefatai, Sefatai Tiv. Talk. Thank you for laughing, Carolee. Uvi Yagid Tehilatecha, Adonai Sefatai, Sefatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim ve'Kaneh HaKol, ve'Zocher Chazdei Avot ve'Imahot, Vigiula livnei v'neihem leman shemo be'ahava, Melech ozer u'moshia u'magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Ata gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayecha kol ata rav lechoshia, Morid hatal, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, Somek noflim verofe cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al gevurot, Umidom elach, Melech memit umechaye umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah lechachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai mechaye hakol. Kadosh v'shimcha kadosh u'kadoshim b'chol yom yechalelucha selah, Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh.
Please continue silently to page 283 or 165, and please be seated whenever you need to, or when you're done.
That's a good idea.
page 283 and 165.
אלוהי נצור לשני מרע, ופתי מדבר מרמה. ואם קל אלי נפשי תדום, ונפשי כעפר לכל תהיה. אלוהי, אלוהי נצור לשני מרע, ושפתי מדבר מרמה. ואם קל אלי נפשי תדום, ונפשי כעפר לכל תהיה. אלוהי ניצור לשוני מרע, ושפתי מדבר מרמה. ואם קל אלי נפשי תדום, ונפשי כעפר לכל תהיה. אלוהי, פתח ליבי, פתח ליבי, פתח ליבי, בתורתך. ניצור לשוני מרע, ושפתי מדבר מרמה. ואם קל אלי נפשי תדום, ונפשי כעפר לכל תהיה. אלוהי ניצור לשוני מרע, ושפתי מדבר מרמה. ואם קל אלי נפשי תדום, ונפשי כעפר לכל תהיה. אלוהי, יהיו לרצון אמרתי, והביון ליבי לפניך. אדוני, אדוני, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי וגואלי.
Thank you for learning that for tonight. Or you've done it, I think, no, you've never done it before.
With the choir we have.
With a choir, yeah. That's by Danny Massing, for those who know the various cantors out there. We take a moment now to think of those in need of healing, whether of body, of mind, or of spirit. We think of congregants and friends and family of congregants: Ben Henderson, Rabbi Steve Robbins, Gloria Mangus, Leslie Ferris, Pamela Mangus, Judy Richmond, Glickle Sarah Bat Devora Milka Gittel, Vicky Dix, Colton Wayne Whitaker, John Cruz, Mark Feldstein, Dan Strauss, Darlene DeMason, Linda Stroman, Charlene Beck, Shawnee Holness, Eddie Archibek, Dan Hantman, Shmuel Ben Devora. If you'd like to, please add a name as I look around the room. Go ahead, Alexandra. Let me look on Zoom. Gary Oppenheim, Judy Gladstone, Sandra Landis, Rachel Heslin, Jess Landis, Robin Mendez, Dorothy Odson, Alan Gutcher, Eleanor and Jane Yaley, and This is a Todd Herzog Mishaberach, which is not in the book, so just take it in for yourself and for those that you're thinking of tonight.
What's nice about this is mostly in English, and it's sung responsively, so when it comes to the verses, you will just copy me right after I say a particular line. It's a really beautiful prayer for healing. Dear God of our ancestors, dear God of our ancestors, help us renew our faith, help us renew our faith. Grant us a perfect healing, grant us a perfect healing. Bring peace to all our days, bring peace to all our days. El na refan Allah, refan Allah nu. El na refan Allah, refan Allah nu. Restore our strength of body, restore our strength of body. Help clarify our minds, clarify our minds. Refresh our tired spirit, refresh our tired spirit. Rejuvenate our light, rejuvenate our light. El na refan Allah, refan Allah nu. El na refan Allah, refan Allah nu. Thank you for all these blessings. Thank you for all these blessings. Throughout our days and nights. Throughout our days and nights. We celebrate the journey. We celebrate the journey. This precious gift of life. This precious gift of life. Sing with me. Na refan Allah, refan Allah nu. El na refan Allah, refan Allah nu. Two more times. El na refan Allah, refan Allah nu. El na refan Allah, refan Allah nu. It's beautiful.
So tonight, in communities that are more conservative than ours, we celebrate the second day of Shavuot, which is a harvest festival also marking the giving of the Torah on Mount Sinai. And I think this is so perfect for my final service here at Temple Beth El because I love the Torah. The rabbinic sage Ben Bagbag said of it, turn it and turn it, for everything is in it. And that is exactly what our sages have done since the Torah was brought from Babylonia, supposedly, to Israel by the prophet and priest Ezra. Rabbi Akiva is probably the prime example of how to probe the words of Torah for its deepest meaning. So here's how he began to study Torah. And by the way, he didn't start till he was 40, so it's never too late. Rabbi Akiva went and sat before Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Joshua. He said to them, "My masters, teach me the sense of law." When they taught him one law, he went and sat alone and asked himself, "Why was this aleph written? Why was this bet written? Why was this or that said? He returned and asked them, and they were reduced to silence. As Rabbi Michael Strassfeld notes, Rabbi Akiva, it seems, was the type of student that good teachers crave or maybe even fear. The student who takes the material seriously enough to ask fundamental and sometimes challenging questions about it. Questions that perhaps a teacher, he or himself or herself, is not able to answer. The story continues. Rabbi Shimon, son of Elazar, says, "To what is this similar? To a stonecutter who was quarrying in the mountains. Once he took his shovel in hand, sat on the mountain, and began breaking off small pebbles. Passers-by asked him, 'What are you doing?' He answered, 'I'm uprooting the mountain and moving it to the Jordan River.' They responded, 'You cannot possibly uproot the whole mountain.' But Rabbi Akiva continued until he reached a large boulder. He got under it, moved it, and uprooted it to the Jordan, saying to it, 'This is where you belong. This is not where you belong.' Rabbi Tarfon said, 'Things that were hidden from others, Rabbi Akiva would bring out into the light.' And it is this very close reading of the text that drew me to Judaism and set me on the road to becoming a rabbi. The material is so rich, has so much to offer about life and the world and God. Its layers of meaning are endless, yielding new meanings all the time, and that is what makes it sacred. The Torah has been interpreted with deep insights by Jews, ancient as well as modern, and sometimes these insights build on each other, and sometimes they're contradictory. Often, no conclusion is reached. And that is because each individual, whether a rabbi or any one of you, brings your own experiences and perceptions to the material. Even from the very beginning, according to the Midrash, the Torah was given in 600,000 ways to appeal to each of the 600,000 people present, and in 70 different languages, so it could be understood by all. And clearly, in many ways, each person understood it differently and still does. There are even two different ways of interpreting the giving of the Torah on Mount Sinai. One Midrash, and some of you have heard this already, claims that God took the mountain and held it over the heads of the Israelites and said, "If you accept my Torah, all will be well, and if not, I'm going to drop this on your heads." Free will, not so much maybe. Yikes. A gentler Midrash, however, suggests the mountain was the chuppah, the wedding canopy, and the Torah, the ketubah, the wedding contract. And the scene was a wedding ceremony between the Israelites and God. I would venture to speculate that it was a little bit of both. Awe and fear inspiring, as well as beautiful and filled with love. This many-layered reading of the text is what I find so exciting about Judaism, and so apt for reflecting the experiences that we all have during our lifetimes. Because our sacred texts are messy affairs, just like life. In a few days, I will leave Temple Bethel after 15 years. And of course, it's a moment filled with possibility for me, joyous, but also sad. Because I'm sad to leave all of you. I've shared so many experiences with you. I was just thinking, I'm not going to ask you to do this, but people whose weddings I've done, people whose family relatives I have buried, pastoral counseling sessions, Torah sessions, adult ed, mitzvah day. I mean, we've done so many different things together. Very rich experiences. And we've had times of spiritual connections as well as ordinary times. We've worked together to create and maintain this community that...
I joked and I say, I'm TSA.
Hello?
TSA.
Somebody's mic needs to be turned off. Thank you. Anyway, so we've worked hard to create this community, which is a very welcoming and caring community. We've studied together, we've prayed together, we've confronted Nazis parading around the synagogue. But we've also shared the richness of our heritage with the community through adult ed programs and Jewish cultural fairs and concerts and mitzvah projects. As I said, I've had the great privilege of officiating at so many life cycle events for all of you, from funerals to weddings to baby namings to b'nai mitzvah to confirmation. Leaving here is full of promise, and it's also very difficult. And I think our rabbis understood these complicated and fraught times. This story about Moses captures this well, I think. As you may remember, Moses goes up to the top of Mount Sinai to receive the 10 Commandments. While he's up there, the Israelites are restless and worried. Moses has been gone for 40 days and 40 nights, and they don't know when he's coming back. So they convince Aaron, Moses' brother and the high priest, to fashion a golden calf that they can worship. When Moses comes down the mountain, he's furious and smashes the tablets. We know that Moses had a bit of an anger management problem. Every time we see him, he's doing something where he's so angry. Now, of course, he has to return to the mountaintop to get another set of tablets. The first ones were written by God, and the second were written by Moses. Now, in the Midrash, we're told that the broken tablets were in the ark along with the ones that were whole. And I find this incredibly poignant. After all, we all have brokenness in our lives and in ourselves. The second set of tablets represents our aspirations and our ideals. The broken set represents our disappointments, our losses, our hurts. It's the rare occasion when we don't have mixed emotions. During our joyful times, say at a Jewish wedding, we still break a glass to remember the destruction of the temple and to remind ourselves that at this joyous occasion, other people in the world are not so happy. So friends, let us embrace all the feelings, the painful as well as the uplifting ones. We're going on separate journeys, but we'll meet again. Please continue to be kind to each other and to support each other. Please continue to probe the richness of our tradition. Please continue to educate the next generation. I wish you all Godspeed. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will.
Actually, it's based upon your sermon. It would be worthwhile to do Debbie Friedman's 613 Commandments, but I don't think Eileen would like that. Oh, I gotta get the. I've got to get the. I've got to get the music out here. I've always said that if there's one person who has heard more sermons than anybody else in the world, are cantors who serve for a long time. Pardon? Lucky cantor. Well, actually, that's a very good point. One aspect that's really impressed me about Rabbi Singer, and I've told her this myself, that, and Rabbi Cohn, where you'll probably agree with this, Rabbi Hillel Cohn, who's out in the congregation, Rabbi Singer is the most prepared individual for talks, for religious services I have ever been around. She does a tremendous amount of research. She's very concise. It used to be that we complained about rabbis talking too long, not Rabbi Singer, because everything she's had to say is poignant, salient, and wonderful. And
see what happens when you've been away from somebody for a while?
No, when I was here, I felt the same way when I was here, serving here, absolutely. When I first came here, there was a rabbi who was well known for going on and on and on and on. And for those of you who've been around for a few years, on and on and on. But I won't do that. So what Barbara and I would like to do is oh, that's the wrong song.
I was wondering. I didn't think that was the right one, but I thought, well,
That's the wrong song. Where's the first page? I got to get the first page. It's a song written by Debbie Friedman called Tfilat HaDerech. And it's appropriate. It's a song where we part ways, but we wish the best for the other individual. And I'm still going to email you all kinds of indignant articles that we usually share. We haven't done too many recently. So this is a song for Rabbi Singer, and hopefully all of us will understand, because it's all in English, and we'll understand the sentiments. May you be blessed as you go on your way. May you be guided in peace. May you be blessed, and Jordan, with health and joy. And this be our blessing. Amen. If you know it, sing with me. Amen. Amen. May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing.
Of peace, may you be kept in safety and in love. May grace and compassion find their way to every soul. May this be our blessing. Amen.
Everybody sing Amen with us.
May this be our blessing.
Amen.
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 Amen. May this be our blessing. Amen.
Thank you so much for that beautiful song. I was told to call Carolee up for presentations. That's all I know.
Well, I think so, yeah. Two things, and Susan Tenenbaum would have done this had she not been here, but I'm happy to do it. Many years ago, the Bauman family, in honor of their mother, Gertrude Bauman, created a fund and an award at Temple Bethel called Woman of Valor. A number of us have had the honor to receive this award, and you, Rabbi, have given it to us here on the bima. Now, it is an honor for me, representing the Bauman family, to call you our Rabbi of Valor and present you with this necklace and leaf, which I have to get out. Okay, you hold that. This is the necklace. It's kind of wrapped up here.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful here. I'll take it out. If I had known, I would have taken it out ahead of time. Oh, it's really pretty.
Oh, wow.
It's really lovely.
Tree of life.
Yes. Can you want me to help you put it on? Oh, great. Let's see. Oh, it's lovely. It's lovely. It has a little ruby in it, which is lovely.
Favorite color.
Oh, look at that. Very nice. And oops. As we say, a rabbi of valor, who can find? For her price is far above rubies. And there's a ruby on the necklace, which is really nice. You are so deserving of this honor. And here is the leaf, which says, well,
15 commandments, 10, right?
well, the thing it's in has the bottom isn't good, so we won't put it back in there. But it says, in honor of Rabbi Suzanne Singer, our Rabbi of Valor, love from the Bauman family, May 26th, 2023, which is really, I have all this here for you. Also, tonight, the Bauman family, whose parents were founding members of Temple Bethel, are honoring Rabbi Singer's last service by donating the lovely plants that you see in the front here on the bima and the beautiful silver Bauman vases. We've had these vases, and the Bauman family wanted them to have flowers in them tonight, which is really nice. Also, dear Rabbi, we have been so fortunate the last 15 years because you have been our rabbi. We really, really have. You have cared for us in so many wonderful ways, bringing in events such as the recent Jewish trio, jazz trio, which was fabulous, by the way, and Mitzvah Day, just to name a few, just recently. You have brought wonderful, spiritual, and meaningful services with thoughtful interpretations of the Torah portion, like just now, and every week for all these years. And your Torah study, which is now well into the prophets, which I should have attended much more often, has been exceptional. You have gone over and above for this temple community and the community at large. And best of all, you are a great friend to all of us, who has laughed with us and cried with us and counseled us. You have inspired us to be better Jews and to understand our heritage and to practice tikkun olam. And we love you. And wait a minute, there's a leaf. Yes, there's another leaf. There's another leaf. And this one says, in honor of Rabbi Suzanne Singer, I won't take it out of this because it'll fall. I'm going to have to take it out. Excuse me. Okay. Oh, here it says. In honor of Rabbi Suzanne Singer, 15 memorable years as Rabbi of Temple Bethel, May 26, 2023. Every bit of it, every bit of it. Wonderful. Now we can put it all back in here. There's a card. Here's the card. Yes, and here's the other leaf. There we go. Okay.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, this is mine, right?
Yeah, that's yours.
I'm totally overwhelmed.
Another hug.
Thank you so much. That's really, really beautiful. I'm speechless. Thank you. I wanted to also mention a few people who are here tonight. First of all, of course, Rabbi Hillel Cohen. I'm so touched that you came to my last service. Hillel Cohen has been a mentor, a friend, a role model. The first few years when you used to come to our services, I would inevitably get so nervous that I would forget something like the Baruch Hu, call to worship, things like that. In fact, the very first time, Randy Lester Wilson also came out here with Ryan and Carl, thank you, from Palm Springs. Jackie Shoji was converting, and you were doing the blessing with her, or something. Anyway, you had a piece of paper that had it written down, and I just happened to glance at the wrong line, and I did it out of order, which one person noticed. Guess who that was? But then he reassured me. He said, at Kennedy's inauguration, there was a Reform rabbi who messed it up too, and all the Orthodox rabbis were furious. So, good company. I also want to welcome a new member, Daniel Miller. Please stand up, Daniel. Daniel Miller has joined our community, yes. And for those of you who have met him and spent any time with him, he's got lots of energy and lots of spirit, and we are so happy to have you be part of our family. And I just also want to mention something else, because I wouldn't normally do this, but since I'm leaving, I have two people I'm bringing to the mikveh in July. The first one is Thomas Fowler, please stand up, who was studying in Kansas City, believe it or not, to become a Jew, and made it out here because you got stuck there from COVID, right? So, welcome to California. And now this will be a shock to some of you, but I think 10 years in the making, Carl Walton is going to the mikveh. Carl? Yeah, I was telling him before, in the form where I'm supposed to send an endorsement of the candidates, it says, how long have you known this person? 10 years. How long has he been working towards conversion? 10 years. Yeah. Anyway, better late than never, right? You're sure now, right? It's not like, ooh, I'm not. So this is going to be very exciting. And I actually just went this past week on Monday to another person who was in my class a couple of years ago. I don't know if he's ever going to join here or not, but he's a student at UCR, graduate student. So they're all coming in at the last minute, like, oh, you're leaving, wait a minute, take me to the mikveh. Actually, the mikveh is not going to be available after September because it's at the American Jewish University. They sold the building. And for those of you who know where, it's on Mulholland between the west side of LA and the Valley. It's prime location, right across from the Skirball and the Getty. Huge, too. And they sold it, and I don't know why they couldn't make an arrangement for us to still use the mikveh, but we can't. And so until another mikveh is built, we get to go to Newport Beach, to the water there. And I did do one conversion that way. The water's not terribly clean, let's just put it that way. I took a shower when I got home. I couldn't even see the person dunking because it was so, anyway. But that's where we got to go, or maybe there's some other lake or something that's not, so it just has to be natural water. Which, by the way, let me just tell you, Carl and Thomas, close your ears so you don't hear this. So the water is supposed to be natural water, right? Well, the mikveh at the AJU is in the basement, and you cannot pipe water in. So how do they get around that problem? Who said ice? What is it? You already know? How do you know this?
You told me like a month ago.
All right, anyway. Yeah, they have a compartment where they have the ice that, melts, then it's natural. And then there's a little plug, and you let it into the rest of the water, and once it touches the rest of the water, everything's kosher. So, legal minds. Okay, we're very honored tonight to have our president, at our service, David Crone, and he's got a few announcements. Rabbi, what? Did I forget something?
Shabbat Shalom. Join us tomorrow, Saturday, May 27th at 10 o'clock for Rabbi Singer's last Torah study on Zoom only. And please join us next Friday, June 2nd, for Family Shabbat Service led by Carolee Jaspin and Elliot Levine, in person or on Zoom. Together with Mount Rubidoux Church, we will have a blood drive on Saturday, June 17th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. in the Temple Social Hall. More information will be sent out next week. On Friday, July 7th, we'll welcome our new interim rabbi, Rabbi Phil Cohen. Please join us in person or on Zoom for his first service at Temple Bethel, and we'll have more information to come on that. The Oneg tonight is sponsored by TBE Congregants in honor of Rabbi Singer. And now,
Sorry, they're talking to me.
well, now I'm going to talk to you. That's easier said than done. I do want to announce that I actually have a contract signed for Rabbi Singer to be Rabbi Emerita. This relationship will be perpetual. Rabbi will also be a member of our congregation. That's also perpetual. So all of this talk of endings and last can be also thought of as different. The rabbi won't have control of the pulpit, but she won't have the responsibility for the pulpit. And when you let go of responsibility, that can be transformational. That can lead to a different and even deeper relationship. You will, when you come, you won't have to be here, right? You'll be here out of love and out of belonging. So now, okay, this is probably an inappropriate analogy. It's maybe analogy is too strong a word, but I have heard the story told that when God created the universe, God had to withdraw to create space for the universe. And custom is when we have an interim rabbi, the current rabbi withdraws to create space. Not that the rabbi's God, but you get the point. So that is the custom, and we will also have an interim rabbi who can be here, is expected to be here for a year and can be here for no longer than 2 years. So we'll be looking for a full-time replacement rabbi. And our interim rabbi is an experienced interim rabbi who plays the role of helping us to transition. So that's in place. The custom is for the rabbi to sort of pull back more at the beginning and then see how things develop. So things will be different and things will evolve, but things haven't ended. They're changing. Okay, that's the end of my announcements. Got a juror in between that. You need that back.
Oh. Whose glasses? Oh, yours. Oh, you know what? A few weeks ago, somebody left some glasses. Does this look familiar to anybody? They're pretty strong glasses, so you've probably been walking around blind for the past few weeks. No? Nobody? Okay. Or if you have a friend who came here and said, I haven't been able to see for a while. So we now take a moment to think of those who are no longer with us. No, we're not going to take that moment because, yes, no, we're going to do the Aleinu first. Yes. But there are people who haven't been with us for a while, and we're going to call them up. I've been told to do this. I'm sorry, Jim. I was told to ask you to come up. Oh, he's annoyed. All right. Okay, so you've seen what incredible talent we have in this congregation. Elliot is going to come up later, and I will mention him too. Oh, you want him to do the Aleinu? Yeah. Oh, okay. They tell me this at the last minute. Okay. Elliot Levine, of course, has served as our cantor on many occasions. Jim Orens has served as our cantor and our rabbi. And of course, Morris Maduro has worked many, many times as our cantor. And Bob has even returned as our cantor and luckily brought Barbara. And Jory is the music behind all of this. So, all of you may come up. Yes. They made me do it. All right, we rise for the Aleinu. It's on the inside cover of your prayer book.
A while ago, we got together and did this. We called ourselves the Cantors Four.
The Chazan's for.
Chazan's Four, okay. We'll do it nice and slowly. Just arc.
Oh, the ark has to be open for this.
Oh, yeah,
Yes. So it's because Rabbi Cohn's here. That's the problem. I think he makes you make mistakes. Yeah.
Any children still awake back there, Dominic? No? Okay.
Okay.
Dwindled
How's
down
it?
to 3 children. Okay.
Give us the root of the chord.
Aleinu.
Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה לרוצה בראשית, שלא עשנו כגאי ארצות, ולא שמנו כשפיכות אדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל העולם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נותן שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומשה יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בקרי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום להשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, והארץ מתחת. אין עוד, אין עוד.
כתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
Thank you. That was great. That was great. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, guys. Please be seated. So there are 2 people you don't say no to. Wait till she stops talking. There are 2 people you don't say no to. One is Carol Lee, right? I said, no one says no to you. And the other one is Mike Goldware, who sent Rabbi Cohen and me 2 emails saying, you must do this tonight. Okay, so I said, aye, aye, sir. It's Memorial Day weekend, and we want to celebrate Jewish war veterans. And I'm going to read you something that he sent me to read, which I'm doing dutifully. Please tell him, okay? And the list of soldiers are on the handout because I figured it was going to take too much time to read all of them, but they're available if you want them. And this was actually written by Nelson Melitz, Colonel USAF retired, National Commander. As we approach Memorial Day 2023, I ask that JWV members, their families, and all Americans stop to think and remember the purpose of establishing Memorial Day as an American holiday. I would like us to recall that Memorial Day is intended to be a day to remember those who gave the ultimate sacrifice while serving in the United States military. There have been tens of thousands of Jewish men and women that gave the ultimate sacrifice since the founding of our great republic. Memorial Day offers all of us an opportunity to recognize the perseverance of family members and friends who have endured the loss of a loved one. Especially on Memorial Day, I think about my grandparents and father, because my uncle, Second Lieutenant Leonard Melitz, U.S. Army, was KIA in action during the Battle of the Bulge, World War II, and how they were impacted by that loss. I know they and the entire family are proud of Uncle Leonard's service, but his loss was never forgotten and affected them until their passing. Across the nation, JWVers spend many hours prior to and on Memorial Day putting flags on veterans' graves because every person who served deserves to be remembered for their sacrifice. While I will be at the White House on Memorial Day morning and later at Arlington National Cemetery, proudly representing JWV, Jewish War Veterans, at the official events, I call on each of you to remember the hundreds of thousands of men and women of all faiths and backgrounds who made the ultimate sacrifice while serving our country. Please keep in your thoughts and prayers the families and friends of our fallen while they remember and grieve. Memorial Day is significant to all of us for different reasons and is recognized in different ways. Remember that freedom is not free without the ultimate sacrifices of those Jewish men and women who gave a full measure of service to the United States of America. And so we are grateful for the service of all of them. And again, you have the list there. I want to offer our condolences to Tremaine Franklin on the passing of Donna Yvonne Reynolds, his mother. Is anyone here observing Shiva Shloshim, or the first year of mourning? I would like to mention a name. And on Zoom, David Tanazaki, first year, also a World War II veteran, 552. First year Irving Klein, first year Sheldon Cohen, first year Sean Heslin, first year Lita Mintz, first year Kara Gilman. And we are observing yahrzeits this Shabbat for Charles Hunt, Donald Kaufman, Martha Weber, Louis Bachman, Gary Herman, Roger Cannell, Betty Kellner, Beth Gershon, Victor Harbour, Nina Weiss, Robert Gordon, Jamie Harbour, Wilma Dahan, Rose Stein, David Maines, Sharon R. Martinez, Bessie Rubin, Daniel Archibek, Blanche Urbach, Rabbi Joseph Isaac Atkin, Benjamin B. Sklar, Sonia Cody, Marvin Blackman, Adolf Baumel, Ben Boasberg, Arthur Goldberg, Yoni Stawiskowski. Is anyone else observing a yahrzeit? Anybody on Zoom? Patty Podnar, first year. We, of course, think of those who perished in the Holocaust and have no one to say the mourner's Kaddish for them. Please join me on page 598. I'll give you the other page as well. Sorry. 598 and 294. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei rabbah, ve'alma divrach yehutei v'yamlich malchukei, v'chayachon v'yomechon uv'chayedechol beit Yisrael, v'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam l'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemei dekudusha b'richu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, huya aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. As together we say, amen. Our closing song is the Sephardic Ein Keloheinu, which is page 621 and 327. Does somebody need my mic?
Oh, use this.
This is the rabbi's favorite song. Can you hear me out there? Can you hear me out there? Oh, good. Jory's going to play a little bit of a solo at the beginning. It's an F major, major, major.
Adonenu, Michem Malkeinu, Michem Hoshienu, quien como nuestro Dios, quien como nuestro Señor, quien como nuestro Rey, quien como nuestro Salvador.
No del Eloheinu, no del Adonenu, no del Makenu, no del Moshienu. Loremos a nuestro Dios, loremos a nuestro Señor, loremos a nuestro Rey, loremos a nuestro Salvador.
Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu. Bendijo nuestro Dios, bendijo nuestro Señor, bendijo nuestro Rey, bendijo nuestro Salvador.
Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Rakeinu, Atahu Moshienu. Tu el nuestro Dios, tu el nuestro Señor, tu el nuestro Rey, tu el nuestro Salvador. Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Moshienu. Con nuestro Dios, con nuestro Señor, con nuestro Rey, con nuestro Salvador.
Before we do the motzi, a great big thank you to all these wonderful, wonderful musicians. Thank you so much for a beautiful, beautiful evening. Barbara, Bob, Jory, Elliot, Jordan, Morris, and Jim, if he's, there he is. Yes, thank you, Jim. And a big thank you to Nick Guadagnoli, whom you cannot see. Oh, there he's, oh, he got a picture of himself on there. Good. Here, on here, look. Oh, he's gone now. Thank you, Nick, for running tech. And we have some children that need to come up here to do the motzi. Right here.
No, let's just do it. No. D.
Shabbat Shalom. Please join us for the oneg.